Things are improving in Victoria, and restrictions that never should have been imposed on many regional parts of the state are now being eased. Places like Mildura, for instance, semi-arid on the Murray, in the Mallee, closer to Adelaide than Melbourne, but locked down for months with no cases. They can finally start to open up from Thursday and get out and about, still with some restrictions. No hope profit, though, for Melbourne. It remains the most heavily locked down, the most stringently restricted city in the world. Meanwhile, South Australia has opened up for travellers from the ACT, but still won't let people in from New South Wales without 2 weeks quarantine. 7 new cases in New South Wales in the last 24 hours, 4 coming in from overseas in quarantine, 2 from known clusters, and just 1 unknown case, 1 case of unknown origins, 1 mystery case among 8 million people, and South Australia keeps its border closed. What a disgrace. These state premiers continue to dislocate society, crush communities, destroy livelihoods and smash the economy, all pretending they can eliminate a virus that will be with us for years to come. On the economy, Labor is using the pandemic as an excuse for ditching its absurd climate change policies. The party won't take an emissions reduction target for 2030 to the next election, according to one draft version of its new platform. This is something we've talked about on this program for many, many months. Labor's backing away from their old target of 45% reductions by 2030. This looks like a win for Joel Fitzgibbon and the pragmatic right wing of the ALP. Effectively, although they'll never say it, it means Labor's agreeing that the Paris target signed up to by the coalition is good enough. Here's former leader Bill Shorten.
Climate's important, but let's face it, so are jobs. What I learned out of the last election is that if you want to convince people about the value of taking action in climate, you've got to explain to people where the jobs are going to come from as well.
Wow, better late than never. Jobs matter, hey? If Shorten had been that pragmatic about climate policies a couple of years back, less extreme, he'd probably be Prime Minister by now. Still, you have to give Labor credit for gently, belatedly moving to a slightly more sensible policy. They'll still set a ridiculous 2050 target, probably net zero by 2050, but that will be easier to defend because a heap of state Liberals have signed up to that same target. And anyway, it's a target no currently serving politician will be around to worry about. The government is pushing hard on energy, announcing that if private companies don't come in and back a new gas-fired power station to replace the Liddell coal-fired station in the Hunter Valley, that the government, the federal government, will chip in the money themselves. Good on them. Why? Because we desperately need dispatchable power to maintain secure supplies and keep prices lower. Renewables just don't cut it.
Got to get the gas. We must unlock new sources of supply. We must get additional gas to market as efficiently as possible. And we must empower domestic gas customers.
And as for all the lefties who usually applaud every bit of government spending and borrowing, their criticism about the party of markets, the Liberal party of private enterprise, being hypocritical by investing in power generation, if it has to, well, they're being either deliberately or naturally idiotic. There is no proper market in electricity. It's been completely distorted and deformed by the subsidies and targets for renewable energy. That's why our power prices are so high. That's why baseload generators have been forced out. And that's why power supplies are so tenuous. I'd much rather no government money at all ever involved in this. So take away all the subsidies, all the targets, just let people produce the cheapest, most reliable power available. That, of course, would be best. But so long as governments bow to the left and prop up and promote renewables, they're going to have to also intervene to make sure we have reliable, dispatchable power, because its economic viability is undercut by all the renewables policies. This is what the Green left has done to our power system in the name of climate virtue signalling.